Becoming an instructor can be an exciting part of one's aviation journey, but the training you get to become an instructor is crucial. Who you learn from and where is pivotal in making sure you get the best start possible. However, after reviewing the responses from the survey and the feedback from the conference, it was clear that there's a lot of what to teach going on, but not a lot of why. So in this episode, I want to discuss all that and look at some ways we can train our instructors better, which will naturally flow on to better flight training for everyone. All that and more coming right up. So strap in and let's get into it.
Good morning, 714, nice MLE PFB with altitude.
Morning, Eddie Halen, I'm on a bank power, bank pressure rolling at 30 degrees. That's 30 degrees there.
Zero star 9000, 1013, K 525.
Good morning. G'day everyone and welcome to episode 135 of the Flight Training Australia podcast. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, this is the podcast you want to be listening with everything to do with flight training and flying all around Australia and beyond. G'day, my name's Trent Robertson. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me. Well, wonderful news. I, as many did, got the notifications that we have made as finalists for the Australian Aviation Awards 2024. So very, very humbled. Lovely to be nominated amongst some really stiff competition this year as the awards continue to grow. Obviously more applying and the competition's getting thick. And I am very humbled again to be nominated Aviation Professional, the Safety Professional of the Year and the Flight School of the Year awards. So looking forward to bringing home all three of those, if not at least one, but no, let's go for all three. Hey, we've got to be positive. It's going to be over in Sydney in August. So yeah, keep an eye out for that and looking forward to networking with a bunch of people as well and catching up with some recent relationships made and some old ones as well. And we'll see what happens there. But thank you for every one of your kind messages and I'll keep you posted on what happens there. Pitch Black is about to go. It has been a very exciting week of everyone showing up, and the week or the next 3 weeks or so is going to be literally a buzz. There's so much activity going on. It's going to be incredibly noisy and lots of delays and everything else, but well, it's pretty exciting to be part of. There's people that have flown from all over Australia to be here, and I look forward to bringing you a bit of the action as it unfolds when I manage to be in the right place to capture it. And keep your earplugs with you because it does get very, very noisy. And keep an eye out for all the aircraft doing their circuit joins and everything else. There's an AOC supplement out for it all, which will give the rough main departure times. It doesn't give the arrival times, but they're typically about an hour and a half to 2 hours after departure. And so they're your little windows to get in and out of Darwin. If you happen to be flying up for it, I'd recommend landing at MKT and catching a taxi. It'd probably be a lot easier. But very, very cool. And we've got the MLE Beach flyby this Thursday at on the 18th at 5 o'clock through to 6:30. So that is a fantastic evening, and then everyone can enjoy a feed at the markets afterwards. And then Saturday the 21st is, of course, the Pitch Black Open Day. Now, tickets are required. They are free. It is a people controlling mechanism only. There's no fees involved, but do just be patient. Expect delays. You're going to have to park up near the showgrounds and some other places. Don't park anywhere else. You'll get your car towed. And there'll be buses ferrying back and forward all day to keep things turning around. Drink plenty, bring shade, hat, look after the kids, and enjoy the day, talking to crew and pilots and seeing some of these machines up close. They are amazing aeroplanes. It's a shame that they are there to, perform the function they've been designed to do. But again, that's just the world we live in, isn't it? So I guess we make sure that everyone's on our side. It's the most important thing. All right, moving on to today's content and today's episode. So I wanted to delve into this critical topic that does affect the quality of pilots emerging from flight schools across the country. And that is the importance of thorough instructor training. So as you know, following on from last week, we talked about the conference and the review and things are going on. But one of the biggest things is really we need to focus primarily on training the trainer. So it's essential that our instructors are not only knowledgeable about what to teach, but also how to teach it effectively. And without that understanding of the context of why we're doing something, why we're teaching it, where it fits into the big picture, we really are at risk of delivering substandard training, leading to poor standards in the industry. And we are seeing evidence of that already. Now, how are we going to fix this? So the current state. So right now, there's a big emphasis on the curriculum and the syllabus, what's involved, and how many hours is that delivered over, and what's that going to cost. So that's the what to teach. And look, I think generally speaking, there are some times where that's getting a little bit substandard and skew-iff, but most of that is been pretty good. But just the what to teach is also part of the problem if you don't have experience of that yourself. And it doesn't need to be abundant experience, but you just got to understand what it is you're trying to do. You can come across something and learn and teach it. I've done it. A lot of instructors have done that. That's the way the system is set up and works. Like I said, you learn on the job, you develop. But a lot of those mechanisms aren't available at the moment, and that's part of the problem. So what to teach is crucial, but it's only part of the equation. The how of teaching is equally crucial, but is being overlooked. Now, that seems a bit weird. You'd think you would be taught how to teach effects controls, how to teach straight and level. But it's more the what to teach. Depart, go out, make sure you cover this off, do a radio call, level off, take them through it all, give them a couple of goes, come back to base. But why are we teaching that? Where does it fit into the overall structure? Are we really explaining what's going on and why it's so important to allow a student to have plenty of time on the controls, especially if we're at airports where we're getting tied up with air training delays because of traffic and ATC restrictions and that sort of thing. I've seen some schools where for a 1 hour flight, 0.5 is just transiting back and forward. So that's leaving half an hour or less to actually deliver the lesson content, which is something a lot of schools have to try and mitigate and deal with. But, to try and force all that into a 1 hour flight, it's just not doable. So what we want to have a look at is how we can deal with students who become instructors. So CPL graduates become instructors. They're thrust into these teaching roles. Make sure they have a strong grasp of aviation knowledge, but they don't have a real good idea on how to teach. And that's what the instructor course is for, on how to teach what little they do know effectively. And then through controlled delivery, start with this bit, learn that, get really good at it, then move on to some PPL stuff, bit of CPL stuff, and design feature and tail wheel aerobatics, flight activity things, design features. That's all the gradual process of how to get through everything and make it all doable and deliverable. However, some places aren't doing this, and due to needs, I guess, people are being put into these training situations which they're not really ready for. So knowing the material inside and out, but maybe how to then deliver it. This is a common thing with airlines as well. You might, or even universities, you can have a really experienced captain or a heart surgeon trying to teach how to do the subject matter, but they're just not teachers. They're not trainers. And we've all experienced that before. So teaching methods are really, really important. Imagine trying to learn a complex maneuver or some system operation for someone who just keeps repeating technical jargon without really breaking it all down and building it up in blocks. Right? It's frustrating. You've all experienced that. So effective teaching requires more than just the knowledge. It demands the ability to communicate that knowledge clearly and adapt to different learning styles. And this is one of the big things in the beginning. You will become a bit of a one-trick pony instructor. You're just so happy to get the lesson out and deliver it. But if that teaching style, delivery style doesn't suit your student, it's going to be ineffective. So again, the ability to adapt early is really, really important. If instructors lack these skills, students will miss the underlying principles of context of what they're learning. That's going to lead to more rote learning and just trying to pick it up through repetition and no real understanding, which of course is not what we want at all. So that's dangerous. And we need to have that comprehension and then feeding into critical thinking, that they're all skills that we need to be developing in our students. So if we have poor instructor training, it doesn't just affect individual students. It's got a ripple effect on the entire industry. Pilots who haven't been trained properly may struggle with advanced concepts, poor airmanship, ultimately contributing to safety risks. And we're seeing this now. I have had multiple reports of instructors who are failing in jobs later on down the track, of pilots who have struggled throughout, and it just keeps plaguing them time and time again because they haven't been given coping mechanisms, coping strategies. Maybe it hasn't been pointed out to them or whatever it is, that it's just, you can't run from these things. It's going to keep following you down the track. So we need to teach this skill set as well, not just what's in the syllabus. But the root of this issue often lies in the inadequate training programs with instructors on how to deal with all the different sort of personalities and the learning styles that we get. So if we don't teach instructors how to teach effectively, they pass on their gaps of knowledge and understanding to their students. And this just perpetuates a cycle of substandard training and declining industry standards. And part of that process as well is just understanding, the big picture of what you're teaching and why. And it's okay not to know everything. All right. There's so much out there to know. You imagine what I have to know at my end of the straw, trying to start right at the beginning. I can't remember everything. I have to go back to the rules, the regs, keep refreshing, keep reading. Yes, it's not the most fun pastime, but it's just, that's my job. That's my responsibility. And if you're going to become an instructor, whether it's for a career, whether it's a stepping stone or whatever, if you're going to do the job, you've got to do it properly. And that involves educating yourself and teaching yourself all these skill sets. So there are the things that are wrong. There's some issues that are wrong. Obviously, the lack of commercial exposure. I've talked about that repeatedly as well. So how can we fix some of these things? What should effective instructor training look like? All right. So instructors need training in educational theory and teaching methods. So there is the PMI, but what I'm finding is this is being brushed over or done very, very abbreviatedly, if that's a word. And we're not really spending the time because some people are sitting the exam before the course. And so then we don't get to talk about all these different bits and pieces, rather than I really think the PMI course is really critical to be done properly and delivered. It should be done over several days by the time you really look at all the content in the grade 3 syllabus that needs to be delivered. And that's where you can grab all those key bits and really think about what you want to talk about. And there's a lot of discussion. It doesn't need to be million-word PowerPoint presentations or anything. It's just a lot of discussion, a lot of scenarios, talking about things you've done, things you've seen in your journey when you're trying to deliver instructor training. All right, so different learning styles, effective communication techniques, and different methods for assessing student progress as well. Really, really important. All right, contextual understanding is really crucial for instructors to understand why behind what they're teaching. What's the end goal? How is this all dovetailed together? All right, they need to convey not just the how-tos, but also the reasoning and the importance behind each lesson. And students understand where they are in the overall syllabus. Continuous development, instructor training shouldn't just be a one-off event. Professional development is crucial. All industries do it, and this is just as much important as doing an IPC or an FPC, a flight review, IPC. We constantly need to keep coming back to learning some of these skills and reminding ourselves of techniques. And hopefully, as we add training endorsements, we get a chance to have some of that refresher training. But if not, we need to source it from other places. Really, really important. This will also keep you up to date, hopefully, with the latest teaching techniques and just latest technologies and what's going on with CASA and developments there as well. And if you've got an instructor who's a bit old school and not really up to speed with things, well, then seek someone out who is, because this is also part of the problem of things bogging down the system and not just embracing the new, well, again, like I keep saying, it's 10 years old now nearly, but the MOS and the new rules, the regs, the new teaching styles. Mentorship programs, really, really important. Not many out there though. So more on that later. But, pairing instructors with, seeking mentors, if you've got them within your organization, fantastic. And this is one of the questions we asked in the survey. And it was probably about 50-50 of those who felt they had some good mentorship in their organization, some senior instructors that they could tap into and access their experience, which is just awesome to hear. But if you don't have that within your organization or you haven't done it, talk about getting it set up or try and engage someone from outside industry. Outside your organization in industry to bring them in and seek it that way. All right. And there's a couple other little things I'm going to talk about at the end of the session here, which will also feed into that as well, which is a potential option for you. Improving instructor training, it's going to take a concerted effort from everyone. And this is the thing that we all need to just acknowledge some of these problems and take a coordinated step. It's only going to help us all. It's not going to take anything away from anyone by doing this. All right. So, look at the instructor training programs. Do they need revamping? Flight schools, training organizations, we need to review our ops manual, review our training records. It takes time. It takes effort. Believe me, I know. But half the time, a lot of it's all written down and it provides enough flexibility that you can add this stuff in. It's just how you're going to deliver it, and doesn't take any more extra time other than just thinking about what it is you're going to actually present. You don't have to change your ops manual, your training records, or anything. All right. So really incorporating comprehensive training into their programs, getting that regulatory support, and making sure that, let's just say once upon a time, CASA came and just started testing all grade 3s, and the fail rate went through the roof because everyone was dropping the ball, and then eventually grade 3 training standards raised. Maybe we need to start doing that sort of thing again. I think industry, be it through CASA or independent surveillance, again, not as a threat, but just as a bit of accountability, but also just to get some external input on what they're doing and what they think. And this is what we do, and noticed you do that. I actually like that. And it was swap stories. It doesn't have to be a threatening process at all. But that ongoing professional development, really, really important. Some better standards of training material and guidance would be definitely a fantastic thing. The flight instructor manual has not been updated for many, many, many years now. And maybe a little bit more into that could go. We talked about that at the conference, and it was just about word for word from the very original version, 70 years ago. So sure, things have changed. How to teach flying hasn't changed so much, but a lot of the guidance material and explaining of things could definitely be better, which would help everybody. Industry collaboration, I've sort of touched on that concept as well, of collaborating between flight schools, through airlines, regulatory bodies. The conference that we just had was a perfect example of people coming together, swapping stories, swapping notes, and it doesn't harm anybody. It's only going to make us all better. And feedback mechanisms. Actually implementing a robust feedback system that allows students to provide feedback on their learning experiences. which can help you identify and address weaknesses in your training delivery and with your staff, with the instructors, the aircraft, whatever it might be. Now, we all want to think we're perfect and there's nothing that needs fixing, but it's just not true. There's always some refinement. There's always some improvement. And especially if the same message is coming from multiple people within your organization, it's time to stop and have a bit of a think about it and do something about it. So part of our process of assisting and helping this is the professional development, and mentorship is a struggle for some places. And so part of what we've been talking about with Paul and myself and Rich Stoll is to provide an avenue of professional development and mentorship that either organizations can subscribe to and put their instructors through, or individual instructors can jump on board and do that themselves. So we, as part of the Create Better Pilots program that we're going to be continuing, like I said, there's going to be a conference next year again, but we're going to start putting together some online training packages and programs that, like I said, the companies can subscribe to, and we can customize to individual schools, or it can just be a bit more of a generic training program, which are going to give you tips and tricks that you're going to be able to take back to school when you're teaching and make you a better instructor as well. And this is really where we need to start. We need to improve the standard of instructing, and this is what we're going to be putting together. So this is something to keep an eye out for the coming weeks. It's going to be in a couple of months' time that this will be delivered. So watch this space. There will be more on it. That's just a bit of a sneak peek on just one of the many ideas and things that we're going to start putting together and actioning as a result of the conference and everything that we've been talking about and seeing. So we're very, very excited. Paul and myself have been talking about it quite a lot. He's already started the groundwork, and I won't reveal any more just yet, but watch this space, and then there'll be ample opportunity to sign up to that and get involved, which I really strongly encourage you to do. There'll be all sorts of other workshops focusing on all different on lessons, different parts of the syllabus, scenario-based training workshops. I've got a whole day program for that schools can get on board with. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, and that'll be available for later on in the year as well, because unfortunately that's when I'm next available, booked out till then. But this will be really, really exciting, and I think we can really hit the ground running with some of these things and really get some positive change. So keep an eye out. I'll stop yabbering on. Very excited. All right, so let's all work together. Let's get the level of instructor training up, and let's look at different ideas out there and start talking about it, and where our instructors are doing commercial training especially and don't have access to commercial training packages or programs. Let's do some gap training and feed that in, and that's exactly where the scenario-based training program will work. It'll give everyone an idea of what charter flying actually is. And as I touched on last week with the competency-based training and assessment, the whole point of that is to simulate training as expected to be witnessed in the workplace. And we're not doing that. So let's make some changes and get everything back on track. All right, legends, that is it for this week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all my patrons for joining and subscribing. If you'd like to get on board, jump on to patreon.com/Flight Training Australia. You can join for free. There's some free articles there. I'm posting an article a week at the moment, and all sorts of other information over and above that's on the social media side of things. Some are exclusively for financial members though. So from little as $5 a month, you can get access to that and also support me in the work that I'm doing. And I'd love to have you on board, and it's all tax deductible. So you can start that process for next year. All right. Until then, blue skies, and remember the golden rule: aviate, navigate, communicate. Cheers, everyone.